I took the dog-sitting job because it paid well, and the owners sounded normal. Married couple, business trip, one large dog named Bruno. They warned me he was aggressive with strangers, but calm once familiar. They also left a printed list of house rules, taped to the fridge. Most were basic. Lock doors. Do not let Bruno outside after dark. Do not open the basement door for any reason. The first night went fine. Bruno stayed close, but quiet. He stared at corners longer than felt normal, but dogs do that. Around midnight, he started growling at the hallway leading to the basement, low and steady, not barking, not scared. I told him to lie down. He didn't. Something hit the basement door from the other side, hard enough to shake the frame. Bruno lunged forward and slammed his body against the door, snarling like he wanted to tear through it. The sound came again, slower this time, followed by fingers dragging upward along the wood. I backed away. The rule about the basement suddenly made sense. My phone buzzed. A message from the owner. If you hear anything from below, keep Bruno upstairs. Do not leave him alone. The power cut out right after that. Bruno stopped growling and went silent. He walked toward the living room window and stood there, stiff. Someone knocked on the glass. Not loud, not fast. 3 taps, evenly spaced. I pulled Bruno back by the collar. The knocking moved to the front door. The voice sounded like the owner, asking to be let in. Bruno snapped at the air and dragged me backward, teeth flashing inches from my hand. He was not protecting me. He was trying to stop me from making a mistake. The basement door slammed again, harder than before. Something above the stairs responded with another knock, closer this time, right against the doorframe. I locked myself in the bathroom with Bruno until morning, when the owners returned. The basement door was split down the center from the inside. Bruno refused to go near it again. They paid me in cash and never called back. The dog was small, quiet, and old, which made it easier to ignore the warning. The house was the part that felt wrong the moment I stepped inside. I was watching Daisy for a week, while her owner was hospitalized, and she told me not to worry if I heard movement at night, because the dog did not sleep well. That explanation did not survive the first night. Daisy slept fine. She curled up on her blanket and stayed still for hours. Whatever caused the noise was not the dog. At exactly 2 in the morning, Daisy stood up without making a sound and faced the hallway. She did not bark, growl, or pace. Her legs locked, her ears flattened, and her body started shaking hard enough that I could see it from the bed. A few seconds later, footsteps came from the far end of the hall. They were slow, bare, and deliberate, heavy enough to carry through the floorboards. They stopped directly outside the bedroom door and stayed there until morning without touching the handle. The second night followed the same pattern, except the footsteps stopped closer, right against the doorframe. Daisy positioned herself between me and the door and refused to move even when I tried to pull her back. She stared at the handle the entire time, shaking so hard her teeth clicked together. I stayed awake until sunrise with the lights on and told myself stress made people imagine patterns. On the third night, the door handle turned slowly and stopped halfway. Daisy lunged forward and bit my wrist through my sleeve, hard enough to make me cry out. She did not release until the footsteps retreated down the hallway. The pain barely registered compared to what clicked in my head. The dog was not afraid of the thing outside. She was afraid of me opening the door. I checked public records the next morning. The previous owner had died in the house after locking himself in the bedroom during what neighbors described as a breakdown. He had stayed there for 3 days before anyone forced the door open. That night, the footsteps came earlier. They did not stop at the hallway this time. The handle twisted harder than before, and the door bowed inward slightly under pressure. Daisy attacked the door, snapping and throwing herself against the wood. Something on the other side responded by slamming its weight once, hard enough to rattle the frame. I grabbed my keys and packed whatever I could carry. I left before midnight. Daisy blocked the hallway and refused to follow, standing between me and the bedroom door like she was guarding it. She watched me leave without moving or making a sound. I did not try to drag her with me. I understood that the house was not finished with that room, and Daisy knew exactly where she needed to be. The note was taped to the leash, written in a rushed hand that pressed hard into the paper. It said only one thing: do not remove the collar, even indoors. There was no explanation and no contact number beyond the emergency vet. The dog was a large black shepherd mix. He watched every doorway, every corner, and every shift in the house, like he was tracking something on a delay. The house itself was clean but worn, the kind of place where repairs had been made quickly and often. I noticed deep scratches on the inside of the front door. While unpacking my bag, they were uneven and scattered, not from a dog trying to get out, but from something pulling against the door from the inside over a long period of time. The dog stood beside me while I looked, ears up, body stiff, eyes never leaving the hallway behind me. The collar was thick, reinforced, and heavier than it needed to be. When I touched it, it felt warm, like it had been holding heat for a while. The dog tolerated my hand there, but did not relax. He stayed alert until midnight, when he began circling me slowly, not anxious, not excited, but focused in a way that made my skin crawl. The collar started vibrating faintly, just enough to feel through my fingers. When I reached down, something hit the back door once, hard enough to rattle the hinges. A second impact followed immediately, stronger, cracking the frame near the lock. The dog lunged toward the sound without warning, dragging me forward. When I grabbed the leash, I slipped, hit the floor, and the collar snapped loose under the strain. The shift was instant. The dog turned on me with controlled force, pinning me to the floor and snapping inches from my throat without making contact. His eyes were locked on mine, steady and deliberate, like he was waiting for a signal. Behind him, whatever was outside the back door started hitting it harder, like it knew the collar was off. I reached blindly, found the collar, and forced it back around his neck. The vibration returned immediately. The dog froze, then backed off, and redirected all of his aggression toward the door. barking violently and throwing his weight against it from the inside. I stayed awake until morning without moving. The owners returned at sunrise. The collar stayed on. They did not ask what happened.